we see, it seems like everybody's looking for something to complain about, something to find wrong in everything that we do, that we have to change that mindset.
Seeing the social media generation and having children come in here, what are the children today lacking?
I think communication skills. I really do think that it's they communicate, but they don't communicate. Because of where you come from, the way and why you're so successful with what you do is because you come from a kindness place. When you coach a kid and you want a kid to rise to a certain level, you don't say, listen, you loser, you're such a jerk and you're doing such a terrible job. And don't you love when a parent comes to you and says, how did you get my kid to sit? How did you get I heard my kid say, thank you, or my kid never does that. Because you don't make them.
Alright guys, and welcome to Becoming a Better You podcast. Today we have Krazie Tracie, Tracie Amaral. Actually, this is our first on-location film, right? On-location cast. So we're in here, Fab-You-Us Fun Center, which we'll talk about. But before we get started, you have your happy pants on today? Can you show them?
I always have my happy pants on. How can you not have a great day unless you're wearing your happy pants, right? So every day, a different pair of leggings with something fun on it, make somebody smile. That's what it's all about.
And that sets the tone for the podcast, because this is who you are.
Exactly,
right?
Every day.
So I've been fortunate to meet a lot of different people in my life, right? I can honestly say that your level of energy, optimism, and positivity, I don't think I've ever met that in anybody else.
Aww,
right?
Thank
So
you.
I think the big thing is, because this podcast is about, what we can do to better ourselves. In a world that can be negative, harsh, all those things, how do you stay so positive?
Well, I really live by the philosophy that every single day I get out of bed, I say, we're going to celebrate today. It might not be my birthday, it might not be a special occasion, but if we can just celebrate every single day for the fact that it's a brand new day, we're up, we're walking, we're moving around, and you enter each day as it's a party, it's a celebration, you're going to do something great, it can't be a bad day. Even on the hardest days with the most difficult things that have been coming our way, we've just found a way to find something great that happened in the day. And if I bring a smile to 2 kids, 1 adult, give a hug to a mom who one morning needed a hug, my goal has been accomplished. So with each kid and each smile that we bring, that's my goal for every day, is to just celebrate every single day.
And so we're celebrating every day. And we're celebrating today my new book that we published.
Ta-da!
Right? Hug Learns to Believe. So where did that philosophy come from? Because that's not, it's innate in kids, and we'll talk about that, but it's not innate in adults.
No,
right?
It definitely is not, especially with all of this social media and a lot of the nuances that are coming out with television and we see, it seems like everybody's looking for something to complain about, something to find wrong in everything that we do, that we have to change that mindset. We have to bring that back to knowing that, why not celebrate the great things that are happening in the day? Why not celebrate the news that is going on? Even when you turn on the news at night, I don't even watch it anymore. I wait for people to tell me what's going on, because there really isn't anything positive. It used to be you'd watch the news to see your friends on there who did something great, or a sports team that did something wonderful. Now it's just one negative newscast after another telling that this one feels this way, but it's awful. So we have to change that. We have to get kids to get on. I greet them out at their car every morning and I say, okay, you ready for a great day? And the parents say, how are you always in a good mood? I haven't even had my coffee yet, but look at these great kiddos. I own my own business. I have 3 beautiful, healthy children at home, a husband who loves me. How can the day go bad? You know what I mean? Even if everything goes terrible, we have to change that negative into a positive and just let people know that there's so many great things out there, so many kids doing great things and adults doing great things. We need to celebrate it.
And I agree with that. I think that attention is like a flashlight.
It is.
Right? And you could have 10 things going wrong and 1 thing going right. And if you shine your flashlight on that thing going right,
I love that.
Right, it sets the whole day.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly. And that's what we need to do, is to focus on that. Even when kiddos come here and they have maybe not their best day, I always make sure that they go home and say, you know what, we didn't do so great here, but you know what I really liked is the way that you turned it around, or the way that you turned that tough time into something great. So then they don't always hear that there's something negative going on. They're like, oh, when I leave school, they always tell me that I had a bad day or I had this, and I say, but what did you do with it? How did you turn around? Did you make better on what wasn't going so great? So that even they end on a good note, even on their worst terrible days, because there's got to be something good that happened, not just that one terrible thing. And if we keep letting kids know that they are doing good even on their worst days, they're gonna notice that they're doing good and they're gonna try to do better and they're gonna wanna do more of that good stuff to see that their whole day can be great, you know?
Yeah, I think that, I can remember differences in teachers when I was a child, right? So I think my second, so let me go back for a second. So my second grade teacher, she was like an old nun. I think when I had her, she was probably 80.
We all had one of those.
Yeah, and like I was a sensitive kid, right? But my uncle had her and talked about her locking kids in the cabinet and like, the closet and stuff like that. And then so I get it. It was all true.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying she was a bad person, but the way she taught was not conducive to a child and how they're going to blossom. And for me, I was in a state of anxiety the whole time, right?
Exactly.
And to the point where I didn't want to go to school.
Right.
And I was a good student. And then, so my father, my mom pulled some strings, got me out of that class into a teacher
What a difference.
like you. Perfect. Loved school, right? Because of the atmosphere that the role model is bringing. And a side note to that story, the other parents like, how'd you do that?
Yeah, exactly.
But the superintendent's like, don't tell anybody how you did this.
But now see, on the same note, I tell my boys that they're gonna come across teachers that are maybe not the most positive, maybe not the most conducive to their learning style. But I tell them, you're gonna come across people like that in your whole life. You know what you do? You make that teacher see that you're not gonna let them break you down. You let that teacher see that no matter how much they push, you're gonna show them something good out of what they're giving you, and that you can turn it around. And you know what? They're gonna realize that they can't get to you. Some people just thrive on that, like, I'm in control, they're terrified of me, but I'm like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, is this what we're trying to, is that like, yay, you made a kid cry, fantastic, or that kid failed your test, don't you feel great? Like, why not show them how they can do the right? Because I say, you're gonna come across a boss you don't like, you can't just quit your job. You gotta realize, what's gonna make this person tick and see me for the person that I am? Don't give them a reason to give you a consequence or a timeout. Show them that they're not gonna get you, they're not gonna break you down. And they've turned that around too, and they kind of get excited when they get the teacher that like, uh-oh, I have so-and-so, I'm gonna show her. And the teachers always say, your son did this today, or I really appreciated this today. And I think for the most part, and we all have, I'm sure as you coach, come across those kids that might not be your most favorite kiddos, whether it's something physically that they're not able to do, or maybe socially or emotionally they're not ready or mature to do. It's difficult, but you can't give up on them. You can't say, well, you're annoying, I don't want to deal with you, or you're making you find a way to make that kid the leader of the class and show everybody else that this is he might not be able to do this, or she might not be able to do that, but look what she can do. Now they're all looking up to that kid for the one thing they can do, giving that kid a positive. He's not the kid who's the tough one anymore. He's now your leader of setting up the equipment or putting it away because he does it the best. And you're going to give that kid something great, and you're going to make him feel good, and you're going to have a better time with him too, because he wants to be good for you. He doesn't want to get in trouble, or she doesn't want to get in trouble. And that's what I tell them. Be the kid that they can't break, that they can't get to.
And I think that's great advice. I think for coaching, it's really about putting somebody in a position where they can excel.
Exactly.
Right? Because everybody has something where they can excel in.
Right.
You wouldn't, one of my favorite expressions is, you wouldn't look at a baby who's 6 months and be like, get up and walk, dummy.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
They're just not there yet.
Exactly. And even if 95% of the class can do it and one can't, it doesn't mean that they're not trying or they're not trying. Something's stopping them from, so find what's going to get that kid to even get half of the level of where they should be, and then they're going to want to do the rest of it. They're going to want to rise to the occasion.
Yeah. Do you believe that everything can be a positive experience?
I think we can find the positive in every experience. I don't think that everything's going to be, and I think kids also need to learn that rule too, that you are going to fail. You're not going to get everything. You're not going to be as fast, as good, as flexible as everybody in the classroom, but you bring your best you, and they bring it, and then together we're going to make something really great. And even if you're not the best or the fastest or whatever, you're the kindest, and you're the one who's going to help everybody have a great experience when they're in there. That's just as important, because all that other stuff, I tell my boys, you be a good person, everything else is icing on the cake.
Sure.
The smartest, the most athletic, whatever. If you're good in here, people are going to want to work with you, they're going to want to be your friend, they're going to want to support you, they're going to help you when you're having a tough time. If you're not good on the inside, you're blocking everybody, no matter how fast you are, whatever, nobody's going to want to work with you.
So tell me the Apple story. You told me about camera. This is a perfect segue to this.
Yeah.
Tell me what you do with the kids. So at this fun center, tell me what you do here first.
Well, this is, we're not a licensed daycare, which is what a lot of people think we are. We're an activity center. My goal with Fab-You-Us was to have a place where parents, families, kiddos could come and play, get fit, and celebrate together. So we have before and after school care. We have parent escapes where parents drop their kiddos off and they can go on a date and then they come back and pick them up. But they get some time to themselves and know that their kids are having a great time too.
And they're going to be in very good hands.
Exactly, exactly.
I was blown away when I came in here. I mean, I've been running a business way longer than you. I came in here and I was like, holy crap.
Well,
like,
I tell parents when they
incredible.
come here, they're my kids.
Yeah.
They're part of my Fab family and I treat them like my kids. I kiss them on the head, I give them hugs. I know a lot of places have gone away from that, but
You're
I
not
tell
going to see
parents,
that anywhere.
I say, this is what we do here. We love our kids that are here. We take good care. I've given them clothes, socks, deodorant. I mean, you name it, what the kids need, I'm going to provide it because I'm taking care of them. We're
It's
taking
just-
care of our
it's who
kids.
you are.
Food, whatever we do. And that's what we've done, and we've helped each other. Parents have helped other families. But the Apple story, so what I do is I tell kiddos, because we're so quick to tell our kids to say sorry when they do something wrong, which is great. But a quick sorry doesn't fix it. It doesn't make it feel good if you got two kids fighting and you say sorry and they walk away. The problem isn't solved. That kid's still hurting. So we do this thing with apples, and I give one table an apple, and I say, we're going to pass this apple around the table, and I want you to say nasty things to us. So they're like, you're ugly, and then give it a big squeeze, and then pass it to the next friend. You're not shiny enough. I got you from the bottom of the tree. Oh, you're ugly. And then the other table, I give them an apple, which looked like the same size, same thing. And I say, I want you to be very nice to them. I say good things, and I want you to treat it very delicately. Pass it very carefully to the next person. Once they pass it around the table, I take both apples and I mix them up behind my back and I say, okay, can anybody tell which apple was spoken to nicely? And they're kind of looking at it and they think they have it all figured out, or which one got negative words. And they look at both apples and they actually look exactly the same. They haven't changed. They look the same from the outside. I say, okay, so we're going to say sorry to both apples. Everybody say sorry to the apples, and everybody, we're going to cut them open and see what happened. And when we cut them open, the one that everybody was not nice to is all bruised and brown on the inside, and the nice apple looks nice inside. I said, well, we said sorry to it. How come it still looks like this? And they realize that sometimes those quick sorries don't really change how we make somebody feel on the inside. So when we apologize here at Fab-You-Us, I always say, tell them what you're sorry for and what you're going to do to stop that from happening again. So if they, hit a friend, they're going to say, I'm sorry for hitting you. That wasn't a good choice. And next time I'm going to use my words instead. And it might not always work. They might hit the kid the next time. But they're thinking about what they need to do and the consequence that goes with it. And the person that they've offended or hurt feels that there was a purpose to that sorry. It wasn't just sorry, that they're going to try to do better, and they might make the mistake again, but they're going to try. And that's what we tell the kids to do, is to try to be a better person, try to turn the negative into a positive, turn it around, and that's the best that we can do. We can't make miracles happen. We can't say it's not going to still hurt them or they're not going to be sad, but we made an effort to do something different.
And I know with kids, or with anybody, but especially kids, words don't teach.
No.
Experience teaches.
Because they don't hear us anymore. They're so busy texting and whatever, they're not hearing anything that's going on in the world. They're not seeing people's faces. We don't talk eye to eye anymore. Kids, they're sitting, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm texting my friend. Your friend's sitting right there. But that's how they communicate. They don't see the faces, they don't see the emotion, they don't see the intent behind it. So everything is just what's in text. There's nothing behind that. There's no way to say oh gosh, I didn't know I was making you sad or upset, or we don't look at each other in the eye anymore. Kids don't do that. I say, look at him, look at how he's feeling right now. And they're like, well, it's not my fault he's sad. Well, kind of it is, you did, And that's what I teach them to do, is to make that icon. Tell parents, when you're talking, you look at each other. You don't just let them walk away from you. Say, come back, we have to figure this out. This isn't working. This isn't the way I want to spend the rest of my day. And they rise to the challenge, and they go to school, and teachers will tell me that you can tell it's a Fab-You-Us kid because the way that they handled something, the way they did something, or find the kid that nobody's playing with and figure out why that kid's sitting all by himself, and go sit with them, and they're like, oh my gosh, we found out that we live right down the street from each other. And I'm like, oh, it just makes me want to cry, because that's how we used to be. You knew everybody in your neighborhood. You knew every kid at your school.
A lot of bike rides.
Yes. Our kids don't leave our backyard, and my kids are 13 and 15, and my backyard is locked, and I'm out there checking on them, looking at them. I don't let them go off into the neighborhood. It's crazy. This is the world we live in, This is the crazy world. But you got to let them take risks and hope that they're going to make the right decisions.
Now, for you, having 3 boys.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know how we made it, but we did.
Having 3 boys, seeing the social media generation, and having children come in here, what are the children today lacking?
I think communication skills. I really do think that they communicate, but they don't communicate. They don't see the person. They don't know the people that they're talking to. They don't feel what they're each other. They're on the same soccer team, and they couldn't tell you the name of every kid on their team.
Okay.
But we won a trophy last week, and we won it. Well, is so-and-so on your team? Oh, I don't know. How have you played on a team all year long, and you don't know the kid that's on your team? They know the kids who scored the goals. They know the kids that did the... You knew everybody on your team. You knew their last name. You knew their mother. You knew where they lived. You knew their phone number. It's not like that anymore. These kids go to school. My son, he wants to go to school and come home and get on his computer to chat with people all over the world. But he doesn't get together with anybody at school. He doesn't go to the events at the school. He doesn't. I don't know why. Like, he just can't wait to come home and chat with somebody from England and all this. Those are his friends. Those are his people. That's his tribe.
Do you think that they're missing the meaningful interpersonal communications between people?
I do.
And so then how, when we had friends, like, everyone comes up to me like, Mark, I don't understand how your best friends, is like 6 of them,
Yeah.
are all from elementary school,
Mine
middle school,
too.
high school. Like,
Mine too.
literally, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that was uncommon
Yeah.
until people started saying it to me.
Yeah.
So, how does that affect friendship nowadays?
Well, that's what I think places like this is
Sure.
important, or dojos, or
Yep.
places where kids go, where you foster that getting together and getting to know and getting to see and looking at each other. And we don't do television here, we don't do movies, except on an overnight, we put a movie on at 10 o'clock before they go to bed. But it's unplugged play. They don't unplug and play anymore. They don't do it. We have adults come in for adult dance classes. I don't do fitness classes. We play with parachutes and noodles, and we play hopscotch, and we go through the play park. We're playing, and they're like, this is so great to be 5 again. And we leave here sweating and having a ball and talking to people, and then, we're venting about, like we're doing kicks or something, and we're kicking balloons or something. But I mean, we're playing, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so nice to be a kid again. We have forgotten how to be kids. Our kids have forgotten how to be kids. Our 5 and 6-year-olds that come here are on TikTok, and they're coming in with lip gloss and eyeshadow, and they've got this outfit and their shirt all tied up, and I'm like, we don't allow belly buttons here. Put your belly button away, and or these little booty shorts, and their little bottoms are sticking out. And I'll say to parents like, oh my God, they're like, I couldn't say no, she wanted it. My son wouldn't leave the house in shorts or tops or things like that, but we're so quick to let our kids feel like, well, that's what they do on TikTok. Doesn't make it okay. Yeah. My mom would come to the bus stop, you're changing that outfit, you're not doing that. I mean, that's just how it was. I didn't like it.
She'd be like a different wig.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, my hair's rainbow under here, so here I am covering up my other rainbow. But that's what I'm saying. We're so quick to make our kids feel good and not get them upset, that we're forgetting that we have to let them be kids. They should be playing. How do you get your kids to unplug? I unplug it. I literally say, like today, there's no technology in my house. There's no TV, there's no whatever. On Sundays, it's unplugged. I just they're all in my bedroom, and they don't get to use it. And like, how do you do it? I'm like, that's
the
just
electronics in your bedroom. You don't lock your kids in your bedroom.
No. Are you kidding? They find their way out. They slide under the door. But we just unplug, and that's it. Like when I get home from here today, we're gonna go play a game together. We're gonna go for a walk. That's the goal. Is Sundays is for families, and we do something unplugged. People are baffled. They're like, how do you get them to do that? My kids won't go anywhere without, because you let them.
Yeah, it's almost going back to traditional values of how the family unit used to be.
Exactly.
Right? And we're kind of getting away from that. So then, let me ask you this, and we mentioned trophies and stuff like this. What do you feel about, like, I want to say, like, the trophy generation versus, learning to be competitive and learning the lessons about winning and losing, right? Because even for me, as I was teaching and stuff like that, the narrative that was given to me as like a teenager, young, in the 20s was like, everybody should get a trophy.
Exactly.
Okay?
Participation.
Yeah, and then I become a physical therapist, I started running my business, and I was like, that doesn't work. Like,
no.
When I was going to PT school, they picked like 25 people out of hundreds of applicants.
Exactly.
They didn't say, cool, Mark, here's a trophy for
applying. Wasn't it difficult for you to understand, like, why am I not, like, I got the grades, like, why am I not getting in? Like, because that's the way that the world worked around you.
So I think I was old enough to know the competitive, like, you win and lose.
Right.
When I was becoming a coach, like a martial arts coach, I was like, well, the secret for me is that my mother told me, like, always be nice to people.
And so, you are.
So I appreciate that. And you weren't paid to say that. So
no.
I think the thing is, even when I joke around, and I'll be busting on people, that means I like you. And I'm not busting on you to be mean, I'm just joking around, being jovial, right? So when I was teaching, it was like, all right, we don't want any kid to feel bad, right? But then I realized as I got older and I matured, I was like, no, people need to know when to win and lose, because that's how life is.
Right.
And if you can't deal with losing,
right,
this is going to be bad.
Right. And But you said it right, your parents taught you to be kind, right? How many times have we had those coaches and teachers who literally made kids quit and ran them into the ground and, I mean, destroyed children because of their coaching style and only picked the best of the best, which had a certain, I think now, because of where you come from, the way and why you're so successful with what you do is because you come from a kindness place. When you coach a kid and you want a kid to rise to a certain level, you don't say, listen, you loser, you're such a jerk and you're doing such a terrible job. You say, listen, I know you can do better. Show me 5 more. You give me 5 more and I know that you can do it. That kid's gonna do the 5 more, and then the next time you're gonna want 5 more, they're gonna wanna do it because they're gonna want to show you that they can do more, that's the difference. It's the way that you approach it. I make them own their stuff. I don't let a kid leave here that isn't doing well. I'll tell a parent, but I don't tell them like, your kid's a jerk today. Your kid was being, I don't want him to come back here. He's annoying me. He's doing that. I say, listen, these are the things that we did today that we needed to work on, and tomorrow I know he's gonna do better, and this is how we resolved it, and this is how we change around. He's hearing me say that I know that he can do better, that he can do it better, and tomorrow, I don't bring it when he comes in, I say, go, yeah, remember yesterday when you were such a boob? Now you're gonna do it again. This is what you're gonna do. And that's what teachers do. Might as well sit there because that's where you're gonna be in 5 minutes anyway. My son was actually in a classroom. The teacher made him sit by the door because he said that's where you're gonna end up anyway, because he would always talk in class. So my son, after a while, I said, are you still sitting in that spot? And he said, yeah. I said, because I don't want anybody else to have to sit here. So he would take that spot so nobody else would take it. Because he talked in class. Instead of making this kid, just say, listen, here's a time to talk and here's a time not to talk or whatever. You make him sit in a chair so that everybody knows that's the talking chair, that's the in trouble chair. And now my son didn't learn the lesson that you were trying to teach him. He learned, I just want to sit here because I know I can take it. I don't want anybody else to have to take this spot.
Yeah, you're pigeonholing children.
Right.
And when you were saying this to me, it's about giving kids or anybody, even fitness clients or whatever, people who've been assaulted, giving them hope.
Right.
For a change.
Because you know they can be better.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times, and you reminded me of kind of Pug's mother in the book, because Pug's mother shows Pug how to believe in himself, but sometimes it takes someone else believing in you first, especially as a child.
Exactly.
Right?
And they might not have that at home, they might not have that, and that's what's really tough, is you become that positive spark. And how many kids have been mentored by you? I'm sure my son wants to be you when he grows up, and I love that because he sees in you what he thinks he would like to be when he becomes, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's what's great, because you do well what you do and you make kids feel good. I've had kids here, they dress up for me for Halloween. It's like the best compliment ever. I'm like, this is so exciting. But they'll say, I want to own a fabulous place when I grow up. But I tell them, it's a lot of work. It's nice, we look like we've got everything, but we're exhausted. We work 24/7. It's not just fun and games. I mean, I live here, but that's because I know how important what I'm doing is doing, and I love every second of it. But it's a lot of work, and I want kids to know that it's not just fun and games. The ceilings cave in, the water comes into the floor, we have a pandemic, we have to shut down, we still have to pay the bills, rent goes up, they don't hear any of that stuff, but like we teach kids, you can be anything you want to be, but we forget to tell them that it's going to take a lot of work to do it, and it's worth it if you put the time in and you do it right.
Yeah, I think one of the things as I'm getting a little bit older now is the fact that being in the business, writing books or doing videos or a podcast or whatever, or even one of the things I do like is having my doctorate, right? Because now it's on the wall.
Yeah.
And I think when kids come in there, they just see that it's possible.
Yeah.
And it's not really even tooting my own horn, because a lot of times I don't even think about the stuff.
No.
It's just like, oh, he did it.
Yeah.
What's special about me? Nothing.
Exactly.
Expect that my type clothes. But there's nothing. I just did it, right? I took it. So you believe that not everyone should get a participation trophy, but people should learn the lessons of winning and losing and persevering.
Because that's part of the lesson too. If you don't feel the loss, how do you know what there is to gain? If everybody gets a trophy, what's the purpose of?
And no one's gonna try.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's going to be like, well, I'm going to get a trophy anyway, And I always say to kids when we give out treats here for different crazy things, everybody that participates, and they'll say, well, I didn't get one. Well, tomorrow you can try again. It's a Hershey Kiss. It's not like anything that's a big deal, but they learn in little ways that if you follow directions, if you do the right thing, these are the rewards that you get. And it starts off with a Hershey Kiss, and the next one might be the degree, or the good grades, or the scholarship, or the something. You build them up to that, and in sports, not everybody's going to win the trophy and be first place, but guess what? If you played on the team that was second place and you got the most goals and your team did really awesome and you played well together, what's so bad about that? I don't think that's a loss, that's just, we didn't get the trophy, but we had a fun, awesome experience together and we worked well together. Next year we're gonna try to get the trophy. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, and we're so worried about making them feel sad or upset or how, the whole world is built like that. You're gonna feel those feelings and you have to feel those feelings to progress and move on.
Yeah, to learn.
Yeah, to learn.
So tell me the importance of being yourself, right? Because I'm just gonna say, you know, there's not many women who right now on a Sunday do dress up in costume.
Yeah.
You know, having fun. We took promo pictures. I mean, you're laughing the whole time. Most people aren't gonna be like that.
No.
So talk to me and talk to them about the importance of really being yourself, because like, listen, if you're confident enough in yourself,
Yeah.
you don't really care what people say.
Right.
Right? Like it comes down to that.
And there's a difference, like, you know, people will say, you know, like, oh, you own a business, you must have a lot of money. It's none of that. It's absolutely the opposite of all of that. And that's what I think is what's so important to staying real, is that I know what it took to come here. And I have no problems telling people that I went to the bank with like not a lot of money. And when they said, yeah, I was like, I can open a business. And I called and I mean, that's what I'm saying, to think like, if I didn't go because I was confident enough in what I thought I was going to do, they would have never said yes. And then I wouldn't have never gotten here. And it has been the most difficult challenge of any, but throw anything my way, like I can take it. And that's what I keep saying, no matter how hard the day is, this is who I've been in 2018, 19, 20, who I was when I was 5. When I was 5, people said, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be a mom, and I want to be around kids. I've always been Auntie Krazie Tracie, dance teacher, like wherever there's kids.
Patriots cheerleader.
Long time ago. But I say that to people and they go, you were a Patriot? I'm like, yep, because somebody told me I couldn't do it. That's why I auditioned. Not because I thought they were these blonde bombshells. I walked in and I was like 400 ladies. I wasn't any better of a dancer. There were no redheads, so I went and dyed my hair red and I became Rhody Red, and that's how I made the team, because they needed redheads. And then once I was on the team, it was keeping the spot, because I was like, I'm not built like these girls. I mean, they were models, and I wanted to dance. I wanted to be on the field, and every Junior Patriots Day with all of the kids, I was like the rock star. Like, I got to go up, all the kids would come in the team. They don't talk to me. I'm like, because you're too busy putting your lip gloss on in the mirror. Like, I loved being with the kids, loved that they thought that what I was doing, I'm like, I go home, I live in an apartment in East Providence, and these girls like had, you know, houses in Newport. I wanted these kids to hear that, like, I am just from a dance studio. I like to eat chocolate and candy, and I'm not that person who's going to go work out 5,000 times a day. I just love this, and this is what you can do too. And all these little kids would come, and now they're auditioning, and I've had 3 girls make the squad since I've been on. I mean, it's 20 years ago, but that's what I'm saying. You inspire those kids to see like that one little spark of like, what can I do? And I mean, I have rainbow hair, and kids, my boys, I say, dude, does this embarrass you? Like when I take you, they're like, no, everybody knows that you're Krazie Tracie.
Well, because you own it.
And that's what I mean. Like, I don't make excuses for it. This is who I am, and those are my kids. And you should see my kids. They wear sequin shirts and rainbow socks, and they're like, you let your kids go to school like that? I'm like, they're happy.
They asked you that when you were in this.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Like, have you met me? And that's what I love. Be whoever you want to be. Dress how you want to dress. And don't make apologies. I mean, when you hurt people, when you go out there and you make rude comments to people, that's not cool. But this, dressing up and being silly, and you made somebody smile, I'll stop at a red light. My kids think it's great because people will go like, you going to a party? I'm like, nope, lost a bet. You know, and letting people, it made that person smile. They have a story to tell when they go home. Yeah. That's what it's all about.
It's also good marketing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly.
I would never take the wig off, actually.
Yeah. Well, it's rainbow under there too, so it's okay.
So for you then, well, let's talk about this, because you were a clown too, right? Like,
yeah, that's where it all started.
Tell me about that, because I don't know this story.
I was a dance teacher, and a mom had said that she was having a birthday party for a group of kids, and she said, I don't know what I'm going to do, but it's in my backyard. I said, I'll come and entertain them. So she said, you will? I said, yeah. I said, can I dress up? I've always wanted to be a clown. I actually wanted to go to clown school with Ringling Brothers of Barnaby, and then I found out the commitment and everything. I looked into it because I just always thought that was such a cool job.
Is it hard to be a clown?
Well, you got to go to clown school. You have to study. I mean, it's a lot of work. Okay. There's a lot of training, and then you travel with the circus. So I mean, and that's if you're hired. You know, what I mean, it's a very competitive market because lots of people go into it, and
not everybody gets a clown trophy.
No. Okay. Well, the thing is that you have to be good at what you do, and they, you know, even if you get all of the training, just like any degree, you get all of the training. I've met so many people that go into, I want to be a teacher, they go through all the training and then they get their first student teaching job and they go, I don't like kids.
Right.
How did you not know that you like kids? Like, people just hear, like, this is a job I want to do, but they have no idea what's required. I'm not just a business owner. I mean, I'm a social worker. I am a food care specialist. I am a I do kids' hair. I sit in the car with them. I get them going. I'm a social emotional. Do I have a degree in all of those things? My degree is in communication, speech, and hearing sciences, and with a minor in psychology and dance. None of that, but a little bit of everything is what I'm doing. But I love that I just keep learning from the kids, that every kid that I come in, there's a kid, oh, we've tried 7 different places and I couldn't get my son to stick it out because they keep saying he's bad, he doesn't listen. I said, bring him to me. He comes in a week, oh my gosh, he's having the best day ever. I'm like, he's a great kid. I don't know what they're taught, and he hears this, now he's like my helper, now he's gonna work here someday, he's sweeping a floor. Like, those are my favorite kind of kids, because what kid should just have the door shut in their face? There's something that's making that kid be that way, do that thing. Bring them to me, that I'll turn it around. Has it always worked? We've had maybe twice that we've had to say this just isn't the place for them, and it has nothing to do with, I don't take it personally, I don't take that the kid was a bad kid, it just wasn't the right fit for them. Twice out of the whole time that I've ever come in contact, and they just weren't happy here. I found them another place that worked out just perfect. I said, I think this is what's going to happen, and that's what you have to do too, is to be able to know that this just isn't what is working, you know, and owning that and knowing that these are the things you're good at and that these are the things you're not. But I'm not going to let that kid go until I've tried everything to get them to.
You're basically an advocate
Yeah.
for the children. And
Yeah.
is this why you love working with them?
I do.
Do you think it's the untapped potential, the pure positive energy, it brings you back to when you were a child?
I think it's everything. Yeah. I was the kid who I was always picked on at school. I was not a typical kid because I was always loud and dancing and moving around, and I was always told, you gotta be quiet, you gotta sit still. Kids aren't built for that.
Exactly.
Kids cannot sit down, and we have to realize that. Like, when they come here, I tell parents, you're gonna come, it's gonna be loud. They're screaming and yelling, they get 20 minutes of that when they come in. Okay guys, everybody bring it in, right? Now we're gonna use our indoor voices, but they need that scream. I need that. I can't sit quiet for more than 10 minutes. This is like probably the longest I've sat in years, but I'm talking and I'm telling what I'm passionate about, so it makes it fun. But like, kids need to tell you a story. They need to share the crazy thing that happened at school, because if we don't listen to them, where are they going to put those dreams and those things and that noise, and that's what being a kid is all about, and we forget how to be a kid. We all do. We've lost it. We just skip right to grown up.
Well, I think I talked about this on another podcast, but it's by the age of 3, we've already beat it out of the kids.
Exactly.
We beat the positivity out for the most part. Like, you conform like this because why? It's easier for parents or adults to do that, right? But kids have pure positive energy. They have untapped potential, and it's really like the guides that guide them.
Right.
What happens to them?
Right.
Really?
Right.
Because you can see even kids I interact with. I can know just by looking at the kid. I know how the parent's parenting.
Exactly.
Right. I don't even have any kids.
Exactly.
I've been doing this for so long.
And don't you love when a parent comes to you and says, "How did you get my kid to sit? How did you get my?" I heard my kid say, "Thank you," or "My kid never does that," because you don't make them. Not make them, I say you don't encourage them to do that, or you don't foster that environment. I didn't do anything miraculous. I played with your child. I sat down with your child. I said, okay, now's the time for this. I give them choices, but I say, okay, now it's time to not have a choice. Now's the time to have a choice. We take all that away. We want them to be quiet, sit still, get in the car, get your stuff, get together. Where's the time to be just go pick out whatever you want? And now you have to eat a healthy dinner. But you want to go outside and scream for a couple minutes? Go ahead. We had a screaming closet at my house. My boys, if they would get mad, before they would come and yell back at me, I would say, get in the closet. They'd go in the closet, close the door, they'd yell, and they could say whatever they want. I gave full permission for any expletives, whatever they wanted. And I'll tell you, it started off where they just wanted to say those words. And then they would come. We don't use them in my house. To this day, we don't curse in my house. We don't. But I tell them they're sounds. They're not anything. We find the origins of the words. We give them the power, like even sticking up the middle finger. This is like a thing. There was this little boy that came in and it's like, he stuck up the middle. I said, do you want to know where that comes from? I said, in the medieval days, when the castles were there, the troops would go up to the castle and they would show them the middle finger, because to show them that when they would take over a castle, they would cut off their middle finger so that they couldn't draw their bows. So when a new group of guys would get together, they would try to get the guys with all their middle finger, and they would go to the castle and be like, haha, you didn't get us. They'd give them the middle finger to show them that you're in big trouble, you better get out of the way. So that's all that came from, and now it became like traffic and all that. I said, does that make any sense? Is this guy gonna draw his bow and arrow at me? My boys lost the thrill of it. They didn't sit throwing, F-bombs or anything. It's just a sound. You need to say it, go ahead. Get it out of your system. Now they don't do it anymore because they're like, it just makes you sound like you don't have a better word to use. Now they're like, I'm so frustrated with the way that and it's so funny because teachers will be like, your kids have got that's just what I showed them. It's what I brought to them. I gave them the opportunity you can make this choice, but look at how unclassy this sounds, or telling somebody exactly what you're upset about or what you're mad at.
Well, I think it's great when you break down options.
Yeah.
You can have option 1 or option 2.
Right.
And I think that that's with life,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, so if
Exactly.
something happens to you, you actually give it meaning,
Exactly.
right?
Yep.
So now you can give it this meaning,
Mhm.
or you can give it this meaning, but
Right.
this meaning is more negative. So
And this is what people are going to think about you when you make this choice too. So,
exactly, and
yeah.
when you frame it as that, well, what are the corresponding things that happen? Well, they're all going to be deemed in that negative light,
Exactly.
right? So you can kind of pick it. So tell me, you opened this business right before COVID,
Yeah.
right?
Had no idea.
I mean, nobody did. But what were the lessons that you learned from opening a new business, right? You're with kids, like even the restrictions, we got closed down for months.
Yeah.
We're just coming out of that. What did you learn? How'd you grow?
Well, I think I learned how strong and capable I am. I had no idea, I really didn't. I hired a fantastic business manager. When I opened the business, she was the first call. Even before my husband, I said, listen, I'm opening a business. If you're on board, then I'll do this. She is an accountant, she knows, I said, I need a person. I know what I can do, but I'm not that person. Came up with this crazy spreadsheet, brought it to the bank, couldn't believe that they said yes, and then I was like, okay, you're on this ride with me, right? And she was all on board. Then this pandemic happened. Had I not had somebody like her to do what she does best, I really don't feel that we would have made it out of it. The grants and the things that we needed to get through, she could do in 5 seconds. It's what she did. But that happens a lot of times when people will open a business, is that we think we've got it all under control. I'm gonna open this kid business and I'm ready to go and I can do this. And you forget about the stuff that is probably the bigger priority. Some people can do it all. They're business savvy and they're that, like, I am in awe of your social marketing. We have still not been able to figure out how to do all of that, but I look and I say, my gosh, if I could learn one thing, I love the way that you post things and you do stuff, and it's always such a positive thing, but I don't know how to do that, and today, those are things that I need to get stronger with if I want to keep, but I don't want to be. We've had people come in, they want to market us to the world. I don't want to be marketed to the world. I want my community to know we're here, and I want to market to this group. We've never put an ad in a paper or anything. We've all been word of mouth. To me, that's a bigger compliment. And if we can do it at this stage with this small group, why do we need to advertise and get more kids in here to make it crazy?
Well, and in this business too, you're in a mile radius.
Right.
No one from Bangladesh is coming here.
Well, that's what I'm
right?
saying, and I don't know if I'd want all of that. You know what I mean? It's great to have, you want people to come, but people think they can just drop off their kids and come and we're more of like a registered program. Through the pandemic, we learned that. We were originally just like the doors were open and come and play these hours for little kids, this one for this. And we were getting all of these, people were dropping off, they weren't coming back to get their kids. We had no one, it was like, who does this? We had a guy come in one day, there was a baby in a diaper, I'm not even kidding, no shoes. He comes in, he spoke very little English. I drop him off, I come back 2 hours and I said, hi, this baby? I said, he's not even 2. I know, he good. I gave extra diapers, I put him on. I'm like, and he was ready to go out the door, never met me before. Now I was like, who does that with their children? I'm thinking, this is not cool. So I said, you have to fill up, oh, forget it, I go find somewhere else. And he took the kid and he left and I
You
felt,
might be trying to leave the kid.
part of me wanted to just take the child and say, like, I'll take him because I don't know where else you're going to bring him. But I was like, who just brings in a barefoot, diapered kid and is ready to drop them off somewhere and leave? So then we decided we're going to do registered. Our doors are locked. Parents don't even come in the building. We just do like registered. You sign up for 6 weeks, but we know who's here. We know the parents who have dropped off. We know what time they're going to come and go. We have all their
With the
information.
relationship.
So we learned all of that. And now our birthday parties, they used to be, everybody come, parents are... We learned, we don't really need all the other grown-ups, and the parents were like, I kind of liked not socializing with everybody and just focusing on my kid. So now we do birthday parties, 12 kids and the 2 hosts, and it's so much better, and we're enjoying it more, and the kids are enjoying it more. It was all this stress and all this, and we were finding cupcakes on top of the structure where it was, we had 100 people in here at a time, and I said, we don't need to be that big, we only need the kids here. And those are the things that we learned through the pandemic, all the sanitizing, we did that before, but it's like, are you dying over all this cleaning? I said, I did all that cleaning before. This is just like, now I gotta write it all down. That's the only difficult part, and then making sure we had, the DOH would come by and do those special checks. They're like, oh my gosh, they came to our business. Were you like other daycares and stuff? I'm like, no, we got 100. The guy didn't even come in the door. He took my paperwork. He said we did a good job. Like, when you do what you're supposed to do, at any time I tell parents, come and peek at the windows. You can come see what I'm doing with your kids. It's very transparent. You know, when you put kids behind a closed door, you don't know what's going on behind those doors. And we're not DCYF certified. They have called and wanted to certify our building, and we could do it in a heartbeat. I don't want to do that. I want to be different. I want to do it the way that I want to do it, knowing that I can take care of the kids the way that I want to take care of the kids. And parents trust, like a babysitter. You go to a babysitter and you trust with the requirements that I'm sending my child to a program that is well taken care of. This is what we do. I bring them a tour. And then you decide if you want to send. With DCYF, you know, they decide who comes to your building and they send the kids. And there's something great. I think those services are absolutely phenomenal. But you can't refuse children. You can't do different things that, like, I want that flexibility to know who's coming in our building and what's happening here and what kinds of children we're helping out to the best of our ability. And, you know, that's what we do. So I love the way that our program has turned into this, like, and it's always evolving. It's completely different from when we started to where it is now to where it'll be in 5 years.
Constant growth.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important, quality over quantity.
Exactly.
Right? Because you can't, if you had 100 people here, you can't keep the quality, right?
No.
That's the stuff that we really talk about at the studio. But the other thing is just being true to yourself and how you want to run your business. Because as a business owner, you still have rights,
Yeah.
right? And if it's your, like, you're living here. Business owners usually live at their businesses,
Exactly.
right? And you want to live in a place where it's true to who you are.
Right.
And you're not just doing this to make an extra buck.
Right.
If that doesn't really work out.
And it's one thing, I mean, everybody wants to make money with what they
Sure,
do. But,
and you should.
but nobody opens a business thinking they're going to be a millionaire. I mean, and those that do, that's why they're not open anymore. You know what I mean? You can tell the longevity comes from the passion of the business owner and believing in what they've created and knowing that you have to be able to pivot and shift and change and do. Because a pandemic's going to happen or because something, you know, something's going to come and you're going to have to come up with a new creative way to make this. I loved all your online classes and, you know, was inspired to do. We did art classes based, you know, because we were inspired by what you guys were doing and we all learned from each other that way. And that's what I love too, is finding other businesses that are passionate like you and linking people to those businesses. And like, I love sending kids to you. Like, you're not going to find another dojo like this, or you're not going to find another art school like this person or dance studio. And we pick certain ones that we send our kids to because we know that we're all on the same page and we're keeping those kids in the same mindset. Where a lot of places they're just out like, why would you send your kids to a dance studio? They're not coming to you. I'm like, for one day, and then they're coming to me for the rest, and now they're also getting to do something that they love, you know. And that's what we do, is we bring in, like School of Rock came in and did a music program, and then we had 3 kids go and sign up over there, but they still come here the rest of the week. But they got some business, we got some business, and we got kiddos introduced to music that never probably would have had the opportunity because they didn't have the parent to drive them over there. This is where they came. Or a dance studio comes in and they do a dance program, and then we send them to that studio. The parents are like, I didn't even know my daughter liked to dance, but they're getting the chance to try it. Or a self-defense program or something where it's not like any other. And there are lots of programs out there, but I've tried them and I'm a very picky mom. You walk in and you know within the first 5 minutes this is the place you want to bring your kids or not. And some people do it
I think you said that to me when you first came in.
It was.
Like
I walked in. I love the way you came over and you feel like you're part of something. You're part of a family and a group and you don't mind leaving your kid there because you know that everybody, like, there isn't a trainer at your center that doesn't love what they do, and you can tell by the way they train the kids. They don't look like they're bored and they can't wait to get out of there. They're like passionate about each kid they're helping and assisting, and that's what comes through in your training and the way that the kids do what they do. And that's what I do here. Every single kid here gets the same love and dedication. No matter how difficult they are or whatever, I'm going to hug them before they leave. I'm going to hug them when they come. I'm going to make them smile before they go, even if they're having a terrible day, because that's important to me. And parents are like, there's nothing else like it. That's what I want them to tell me.
Honestly, when I first came in here, you know, we've been talking about this for a while. And I come in, I was like, there's nothing else like this place. Like, what? And then there's like, you know, I was like,
well, they specialize. Like, there are dance studios, there are things, but I wanted something here to help kids.
It's a new
find
genre.
what they're passionate.
It's like it's definitely a creative endeavor.
Yeah.
So, if you had one wish for everyone in the world, what would it be?
Wow, that's such a great. To see people, to like really look around and see people. I think we've lost that. We've really lost And it's not even about kindness, it's just about just looking around and really appreciating like people's struggles, what they're going through, how they got to where they are, to just see that, to look at somebody's face and just say like, you know what, you're awesome for who you are and what you do, and you're awesome for what you do and who you are and how you dress and what you look like and what you think, and we might not agree on any of it. I might, like I have 3 boys at my house and they could not be more different. I mean, and I love that each one of them is so different, and I want them to be exactly that crazy different, and they can be difficult, but they're good people, and I want people to appreciate that and not make fun of the fact that one dresses a little differently or one acts a little differently. And I think we've lost sight of that, to just look at people and see the awesome thing that they are and who they are. Everybody, even people that come from bad stuff, like what made you do? What are you going through? What can I do to help lift you from where you are? Like just see people.
So remind yourself that you're human.
Yeah.
And that we're all going through this together.
Exactly.
And it's going to be a much better journey.
Yeah.
If we do it more in a positive light.
Exactly.
Right? Versus just go through life and hope nothing happens.
And throwing stones.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like you, I'm not talking to you, we don't agree, you're not the same, I don't like the way you dress, my kids can't hang out with you. And it happens so much. And those tiny little things, can make a kid change or not, or a parent. I mean, I've been at the school and I've seen a parent drop their kid off who's crying, screaming, and then they go sit in the car, and I'll go over to the car and knock on them, I'm like, do you need a hug? And they look at me kind of crazy, I'm like, or high five, and they get out of the car and I get this hug, and I've made a new friend. And I think, I don't know what created that morning, I don't know what's happening, but that mom is just and oh my gosh, and then next thing you know, her kid signs up, or she doesn't sign up, but I see her again and she's like, I need another one of those hugs. And she's just like, I don't know what I was going to do. Like, I changed that whole morning, or a kid coming in, you see them get out of their car and they're like walking in like this, and you say, did you leave your smile in the car? And all of a sudden they smile. You've just completely flipped whatever just happened to bring that kid into that. See people, make eye contact.
Change the day.
Yes. And teachers too, like look at every kid. There should never be a day that you haven't made eye contact with every kid in your classroom. And see them, notice them. Don't let them ever go home and feel like nobody saw them, nobody noticed them. Like when I go into a room, unless there's like a bajillion people, but like I really do, I try to like smile at everybody. It's like a thing, like if you try that the next time you go, you'll be like, oh my gosh, it worked. How many people you made smile? It's almost like a challenge or a contest, but who knows, that little switch between somebody that, like I cross this lady every day on the road, we stop, she's like, I see you again. I go, must be, like we wave to each other. I have no idea who this lady is, but like we've just completely crossed paths at the same time every day. Stuff like that, like seeing people, looking at people, even stand on the sidewalk that's like waiting to cross the street, I'll look like it, I'll just wave, and they're like, and you just made eye contact with somebody that probably nobody made eye contact with all day. You might flip that person from who's in a bad mood, going to do something maybe not so good, you just made them think differently. You're just seeing people.
Well, that was excellent, and I think the world definitely needs more people like you. And I think everyone wants to thank you for what you're doing with these children and showing them how to be. And before we sign off, just where's your studio? How do they get in contact with you? Stuff like that.
Okay, we're Fab-You-Us Family Fun Center on Middle Spring Avenue, 1420 Middle Spring Avenue, North Providence, Rhode Island. Our website is www.fab-you-us.com, and you can call us anytime, 401-270-5419.
Tracie, thank you for this.
Thank you so much.
Have fun with the book. You're going to be reading it live on video.
Thank you, Marc.
You're welcome.
Hey guys, Dr. Marc here. Now I know a lot of you want to know how we get all these amazing results with our clients, and it comes down to 3 things. The first is fun fitness classes that burn a lot of calories. 2 is giving you an accountability coach to make sure you stay on track and get the best results. And 3 is the nutrition. Included in the nutrition is our food supplements. So we pair with Prestige Labs because I feel they're the best, they have integrity, and they get great results. These are actually the supplements that I take as well. Here's the awesome part. By clicking the link below, you can save 40% off the retail price. So you need that link to actually save 40%. If you just go to the normal site without my link, you're paying full price. Okay? So these are the supplements my clients use. If you are interested, definitely click the link below and it'll tell you all about them.